Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. Glad that you're here, whether you're watching us live or you're listening to our podcast. So glad that you're here. Hi, George. You're present and accounted for, and we're happy to see you as always. How's your day today so far? Oh, hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
How are you doing? It's good to see you. That's great. Good to have you guys here. There was something you wanted to talk about.
There is.
What was it?
There is. Our new store. We have a new design. Wanted to show off a little bit. Get to it here. There we go. There we go. Now this comes in Adventures Await. George Dismuke's book is the third one down, I think, and Paul Hollis's is the one right on the very top there, right under Await. This comes in T-shirts and hoodies and coffee mugs, of course, and phone cases, laptop cases, all sorts of merchandise.
Baby clothes.
Baby clothes, if you want to put a baby in an Adventure Awaits, because those are definitely adventures, right?
Oh, George is having a blah day. I'm sorry, George.
Sorry
I know
to hear.
Things have been difficult over there. Thanks, Paul. It is really good to see you.
Well, tonight we have, thanks you,
Thanks, Paul. We like it. There's pictures of our grandkids on some of the T-shirts even.
There you go. Yeah. Tonight we have multi-genre author Jack KREGAS with us.
From Australia.
From Australia. It's 9 o'clock in the morning for him.
9:30.
Or 9
something. We can check with him.
And so we're going to, without much further ado, we're going to bring him in here so we can, he's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to share. He's had quite an adventure-filled life.
Yes.
Jack?
Hi, Jack.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Morning, everybody. Afternoon to you.
Evening here.
Evening, yes.
Of course, there are people watching this all over the world, so
that's true.
You know, there can be sometime it's sometime somewhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
Just wanted to say to our viewers in India and Cameroon and Italy, go ahead and comment. We'd love to hear from you too. Whoa.
Hey, Trish made it. Wow.
Trish Pipkins made it.
Sliding into home. That's good.
Paul Hollis says, hi, Jack.
Hi.
Do you know Paul? Have you seen any of his? Oh, Marjorie's here. Hello to you too. Marjorie says hello to all of us. Good to see you here, Marjorie.
I see your T-shirt says you're not normal. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if any of us are normal at this point.
Anybody that knows me knows it's true.
Well, we've just come off of 3 days of having our youngest granddaughter. Our oldest granddaughter is 27. Our youngest granddaughter is 6. And she just came off of her first solo sleepover at our house for 3 days. So I'm ready to go to bed.
There you go.
We took her home today.
So if we nod off during the show, make a loud noise or something.
A whistle or something.
You'll know why.
There you go. Jack,
tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from originally, how you got to where you are, when you started writing, all those things.
Okay, I was raised in Vermont and started school in Florida and had some disagreements with my father and joined the army and ended up in Germany. And I stayed in Europe for the next 35, 40 years.
Wow.
And I've had a ski business and a chocolate business and different businesses. Basically, it was there to ski. Then I moved from Switzerland. We pulled up and went and lived in Maui for 5 years.
I love Maui.
Maui's Favorite
the most
place?
beautiful place on earth, in my opinion.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Do you know where
And
Sugar Beach is?
Then I moved to Australia. I've been here now about 25 years. You know, at that time, it was certainly one of the greatest places to live, price wise and everything. And it still is a very organized place. I like it a lot.
You're in Brisbane, or do you say Brisbane?
Yes. Brisbane.
Brisbane.
I thought so.
Whatever we think it is,
Aussies
it's
say
different.
Brisbane. No, I knew it was Brisbane, but
Yeah.
people here call it Brisbane. But yes, and you like it there.
Yeah, I do like it. Yeah, it's very nice.
That's cool.
You know, even with the world problem today, it's still a pretty safe place.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well,
That's a pretty large state that you're in there, Queensland.
I looked up some things. It's very interesting. Actually, Queensland is bigger than Texas. Is bigger than Alaska.
oh, we have a Texan listening.
Yeah.
At least one Texan.
You know, I think Florida has something like 26 or 21 million people. The whole country here has only 26 million, and we only have about 4 million in Queensland. So
Wow.
Lots of wide open spaces.
most of Queensland is desert or outback, you know, with only some cities along the coast and some very small towns in the interior. So it's a huge area that's very unpopulated.
That's amazing. I think,
Yeah.
you know, there are places like that still in the States, not exactly like that. But if you go to Montana or any of the Dakotas or Utah, it's not heavily populated. In places it is, but that's
large land areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for us
You know,
living in Tampa Bay, Florida, it's like crazy.
It's too busy here now.
I don't even know. I can't even imagine what that's like. It sounds good though.
I mean, you can get away from the people if you just, you know, if you drive 50 miles, you're in the country essentially away. But
Yeah.
Brisbane has only around, Greater Brisbane has less than 2 million people, and that's covering, you know, an area of about 200 miles north to south, considered
Wow.
Greater Brisbane.
Wow. That's unusual here in the States too.
So this is kind of a lead into your first book, actually,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I never wrote anything in my life, and I was brought up in Vermont by my aunt and my grandmother, and I used to visit them not often, maybe once every few years. So I think it was 2010 or 11, I wrote my aunt a letter and told her, look, I've written some things. I want to send you the story of what I was doing all those years in Europe. And she wrote back and said, don't send it. I won't read it. I'm not interested.
Oh dear.
So I thought, okay. And
No
I
rejection.
worked on it a bit, and I sent it to a publisher who refused it with words I can't use on the air. And that made me mad, actually. So I unsanitized it completely and did a much more in-depth thing. Found another publisher who published the book at great cost to me. I didn't understand at that time vanity publishers and all this, but I soon understood that I've been had. And I, with great difficulty, I got out of that contract and then self-published the book. And the book called It's All About Me and a Few Others. That book has always sold for the last 15 years, last 5 years, I mean, and it's sold in 12 different countries. I think some of the reason is I knew so many people in Europe and different places that they all wanted to see if they were in it or not. So they bought the book, which was good for me. A couple ex-wives tried to sue me, but you know, when you tell the truth, it's very hard to win a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So the book has always sold well. I then liked the idea, and I wrote a second book called Choice Cruise Lines, which is a book about 4 different families who have different problems and they come together at the end. It's based somewhat around euthanasia. This book, I think, is my It's a book I prefer. I like the character. The characters wrote this book themselves. I was just an instrument, and I've always found that my favorite book. But then I wrote a shorter, the next 10 years of my life, called "It's Not All About Me." And after that, I wrote a book called Mystical Glasses, because I'm a poker player by basically profession. I wrote a book about a man who found glasses who could see through cards, which then became a stalker thriller with a great hero. And I like this hero so much that I wrote three more books. So these books are all available, and it's actually available on Amazon in a 4-book set. I wrote 4 books that second year. I just sat down and wrote. And after that, I didn't kill off the hero, but I retired him. And I started writing short stories. So I wrote 3 books of short stories. And I think that the more I wrote, the more I learned, and I learned about the business. And, you know, it's discouraging, because you always think you've written a good book and you're going to sell lots of books, which is not the case. The case is that if somebody buys your book and puts up a review and says they like it, you've been a success. And that's the way you look at it.
Right.
You know, one day I'd like to make enough money selling books so I could buy muffins with my coffee, but I can't now can afford coffee. The muffins are few and far between. Right?
Is this the short stories, the tall tales?
Yes, the first one is there's some true stories, some true tales in the first tall tales. The second one is a couple of things with some medical stories. And the last tall tales is the one I like the best. The people are not always as they seem. There's a story in there called Halloween in America. If you look on my website, it's a free download for this month.
Oh, yeah.
It's a free download.
Let me put up Jack's website, as long as we're talking about it. It's website, jackkregasbooks.com, and that's JACKREGASBOOKS.com.
And just a note, there is going to be a book giveaway after the commercials at the bottom of the hour, so hang in there.
Yeah. And here's his Facebook page, Jack KREGAS, Twitter @JackKregas, Instagram J KREGAS. So I really think you can find him if you want to find him. It's fairly easy.
You can find anybody these days, right? There's no hiding out.
I'm afraid that that's very true. Unless you really want to find somebody. I've found sometimes it's difficult to find people that you're really looking for. Yeah. Now, didn't you? Yeah. How to Lose at Texas Hold'em. That's another one of your books.
Yeah, this book, I wrote this book in a week. I play poker a few nights a week. I play big tournaments. I used to, before the COVID thing, I used to travel around and play tournaments in Las Vegas or Macau or wherever. But when you play poker in pubs and places, you watch people play, and they don't always, they're out for a social evening. The poker seems to be a second thing. So I got discouraged playing with less than perfect poker players. So I wrote this book, and where many people write poker books about how to beat the casinos or how to win or how to do everything, I took the tack on this book on how you lose. And basically the story is there. It's a short book. It's only 70 pages. It's really how people lose, all the things they do to lose. They may know it, but they do it anyway. There's a lot of tongue in cheek in there and some humor. And surprisingly, of all the books I've written, in the first week, this book sold more books than I've ever sold before.
Oh,
wow.
Isn't that interesting? That's because people really want to know how to win at poker. People like to gamble, so I'm sure they thought that would be a good way.
You take that one to the tournaments with you, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you say?
That's a good thing to do. At your,
I think
did
you're
you
frozen
freeze?
up. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. We have a frozen Jack.
Oh no.
Well,
Jack, if you can hear this, you can go out and come back in.
Would be the best way to do it.
Probably the best thing to do.
Actually, you can message him and tell him that. I can take him from the stream and maybe he can show up. Well, this is interesting, guys. Yep.
Yep, there he goes.
There he goes. Hopefully he'll be able to come back on.
We should go to commercial now, but it's so early.
Yeah, it is. We'll wait. So meanwhile, Joe had said hello to everyone. Joe Conjal, hi. Hi, Joe. Glad to see you here. We could talk about our books.
We could do that. We have the books right here.
All right.
So
the first book is Bioprints. All right. And it's actually a murder mystery, but it's not really a mystery because you know who the murderer is right away. That's the way it goes. But it is about an investigative, what do you call it? An insurance fraud investigating company. That's what I was trying to think of. Okay. Oh, George says, talk about Siren Song 2. Yeah, we can talk about Siren Song 2. George has a new book coming out, Siren Song 2.
But read this first, and then you'll understand Siren Song 2.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can read Siren Song 2 first.
Well, we should do a book giveaway for our books. One of our books.
Marjorie says, that's live programming for you. Jack's worth waiting for, though. Yeah, he's had a very interesting life, and I'd like to hear more about it, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to come back on. We've texted him, and we're waiting anyway.
He had a little trouble getting in the beginning. I'm
Paul
surprised
says
we lost him.
He loves these books. Anyway, George, why don't you type up a little bit about Siren Song 2. I have a pretty good idea what it's about because I've read Siren Song. And so I'm looking forward to reading Siren Song 2 because it's a continuation. I don't want to give any spoilers about Siren Song. So I don't want to say exactly what Siren Song 2 in my mind is about. But anyway, George says now we have 2 frozen up. No, we're frozen up. Have we frozen up for everybody?
Are we frozen? We're all frozen?
Wow.
That's weird.
Yes. Can you guys comment, or have we frozen for everybody? I'm not sure what's going on here for sure. I know
you're not frozen for me. Okay, that's what Trish says.
Okay. Trish Bootkin says we're not frozen for her, and Joe Conchal says we're not. Oh, George says we're back. Okay. Paul says we're cool but not frozen. Yeah, I don't know how cool we are. Anyway, okay, we're still moving and talking on Marjorie's end. All right.
We're still alive. That's good. Every once in a while, we do have to check. At this rate.
Anyway, Bioprints is a book about insurance fraud investigation company, and the lead investigator, the owner of the company, actually is a man named Ryan O'Rourke, and he has this assistant who works with him. Her name is Siobhan. Turns out that they have a love thing going eventually. They don't realize it at first, but they do. Bioprints is about the fact that, and you know, when we wrote this book, people used to think it was science fiction. So when we would go to book closings, we had to bring along newspaper articles to tell people, no, we didn't think up this ourselves. It's a real thing. But it's about bioprinting body parts that are sold on the black market to be used in surgery, which is a real thing. And I know it sounds like science fiction, and we wrote this book a long time ago. So it was really new and crazy then. So that's Bioprints. And then Flash Zombies. Oh, by the way, I should say that that he's trying to solve the murder of his best friend Ryan is, and that's how they get into the finding out about the bioprinting.
I mean, fighting George.
Okay. And then there's Flash Zombies is the second one. It's not about zombies. So I think probably naming it Flash Zombies may have been a mistake, because a lot of people who don't want to read about zombies don't read the book, and it's not about zombies.
I almost posted the cover today because there was a thing going around on Facebook, you know, the one book that you've written that people are most resistant of or, you know, unsure of, and that would be the one.
Yeah. And that's because people that read mysteries aren't really into zombies, and people that are into zombies would not be interested in this book because there are no zombies in it. There's a flash mob of zombies, and they're used by these twin brothers who are criminals, and they use the flash mob zombies.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tongue twister.
To distract people so that they can rob these high-end jewelry stores, and it works very well. And this was also written a while ago when flash mobs, as you all remember, was still a big thing. All right, and then there's also the mob gets involved in a Latino gang that sells drugs, which it's not profiling at all. It's just who we picked to have it. It also has some scenes in here that I helped write, that I thought of, that scared me, and I wrote the book. And there's one scene in there that happens in one of those storage places where you can store things. And at the time we had an apartment in Miami, and we were going back and forth from Tampa to Miami, and we would store things in a storage unit down there in Miami. And I was afraid to go into the storage unit when I had to get stuff because of the scene that I had helped write, which sounds silly, but actually it's true. And then the third book is Clone Drones. All right. And Clone Drones is a book about cloning drones. They got hold of one drone, and then they bioprinted all the rest of the drones, and they used the drones to assassinate people. In this one, you don't know who's doing the assassinating or why they're doing assassinating.
That one's my favorite, I think.
Yeah, it's my favorite too. So I'll read you a part of it. A full August moon bathed the northern Illinois landscape on a soft, ghostly light. The security guard at the entrance to the exclusive collection of imposing homes yawned as he monitored the video feed from numerous cameras. Tirelessly keeping watch on the sleeping residents, the electronic eyes maintained their vigilant task. The walled and gated community was surrounded by a county forest preserve and was designed to offer the utmost in privacy and security. A senator resided in one of the stately homes. On this evening, the senator's wife had already fallen asleep as he finished the last chapter of his crime novel.
Here's George.
Oh, you'll have to buy the book to see the rest. George Dismukes is going to come up. All right.
George is trying to get on here.
All right.
He hasn't shown up yet. But...
All right. Let me finish then. A senator resided in one of the stately homes. On this evening, the senator's wife had already fallen asleep as he finished the last chapter of his crime novel. He put his book on the shelf and poured himself a nightcap before making his way upstairs for the night. Glancing at the security panel, he made sure everything was secure. His normal routine when he wasn't in Washington was to sit out on the massive balcony and enjoy a cigar with his scotch before retiring for the night. This evening was no exception. He made his way out to his evening retreat to relax and clear his mind. Pleased with the way his novel had ended, he exhaled a large cloud of smoke that drifted slowly out over the railing and hung in the still night. A few minutes later, as he thought about tomorrow's busy schedule, he noticed the smoke began to ripple from below the balcony rail. Soon the smoke cleared away with a whisper of sound, as a small black box with rotors on top appeared hovering in front of him. The senator stood rubbing his eyes in disbelief. Suddenly, a small panel retracted on the front of the box, and 2 muffled shots hit him in the chest. He looked down as blood began pouring out and soaking his shirt. Grabbing his chest, he turned and stumbled toward the bedroom door. Another muffled shot from behind dropped him in his tracks. On the other side of the balcony railing, the flying black box retreated silently into the darkness. That's the prologue. And I like clone drones because you don't know who's doing it and why, and it travels all over the country.
George, can you hear us?
Oh.
Yeah.
We can hear you, but we can't see you. I don't know that your camera's on or off, but we can at least hear you. There you are.
Hi,
George.
That helps. It helps to take the cap off of the camera.
That is a very good thing to do. Yes. Welcome aboard. Thank you for dropping by. We'll rush back to Jack if he makes it back in.
If he makes it back. I don't know what happened. We,
Long way to Australia.
Yeah. Well, we had his pre-show the other day, and everything went fine.
Mm-hmm.
George, Trish says, "Hi, George." And Paul says, "Hi, George."
So,
we could just have
he's trying to
He's
come back
trying to
in. He's
come back.
halfway there. Device is not connected.
Tell us a little bit about Siren Song 2 while you have the chance here, George.
Well, Siren Song 1 will go into production in January. We're making it into a movie. We have a distributor, and the distributor said there's one codicil. We will distribute, but only if you have a story to back it up in case it's a hit.
Right.
And so that was part of the requirements. And so I said, okay. And I started writing the story, and I really got into it and enjoyed it. And I'll be honest with you, Siren Song 2 is a much deeper, more complicated story than Siren Song. In Siren Song, presumably the little 12-year-old boy manages to kill the siren, but in fact, she comes back with a vengeance in Siren Song 2. And there's one woman named Angie that realizes that she's back, and she has to figure out a way to go after her and kill her. And she knows that nobody is going to believe her. She tries to tell them that there's a 2,000-year-old creature from mythology that's killing people at the Great Blue Hole.
Yeah.
So that's the premise for it. It's a lot of fun. I had a heck of a good time writing it. And now we have a prologue by Cheryl Payton, who's also been on your show. Very fine writer. So, and my publisher is very excited about the book, Nancy Schumacher and Melange. So it's everything's coming up roses.
That's a
great.
good thing. That's a good thing.
That's
yeah.
great. And
So,
Angie's in the first book, right?
Angie Holland is in the first book, and most of the characters come back in the second book, but not all of them.
Angie's one of my favorites. I said Angie is one of my favorites. I liked her.
Yeah, she's a tough old broad. She's a businesswoman, but she has her soft spots. And one of her soft spots is her boyfriend. And another soft spot is that she likes kids. So, yeah.
We just lost Jack again.
yeah, keeps trying to come in, and his microphone and camera aren't working. So it's his connection. So
Yeah.
So you've been having some actors workshops. You've been pretty active with that, right? Pretty successful doing that.
Done very well. People are very excited about them, and actors are people who their whole soul is to give themselves to the character. So their nature is to be a giving person. So they want a chance to practice their trade, their art, and to perfect it. And it's really fun to kind of watch them. I enjoy being around them. Good people.
I'm going to ask you to hang on for just a minute. We'll go ahead and get our commercials out of the way.
Don't go away.
Don't go away, though.
We need
stay
you.
right where you're at. And
Yeah,
what,
let my
Jack,
dog out of the bedroom.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
We're going to do a commercial, folks, and we'll be right back. Hey, look at us. We've got a new store.
Yeah, we do. It's pretty exciting.
What can you find there?
We have a number of designs available on t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, laptop and phone cases, pillows, and new designs are coming in all the time.
Sounds like a great place to shop for authors and readers.
Yeah, and it's easy to find. It's simple. Just visit indiebooksource.com, click on the store tab, and you're there.
A batch of experimental missiles is hijacked by a group with military training. Duncan Pride, an agent of the Ministry of Intelligence, is tasked with the recovery of them before they can be used. Nathan Jericho, an ex-Special Forces soldier, now running the Independent Criminal Executive, has them and intends to use them. Pride has to work with a beautiful coalition intelligence agent, Jasmine Fields, trying to learn what Jericho's motives are and avert a disaster of catastrophic proportions. Lone Operator is full of political intrigue as shadowy figures behind the curtain of civilization pull strings in Machiavellian plans. Action and adventure rich in texture with complex characters and a hero like no other make Lone Operator a thrilling entry in a new series that will grab you by the throat and leave you wanting for more. Lone Operator, the Duncan Pride series by Jan Damagala. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and retailers worldwide.
At Indie Booksource, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today. WLFE Digital Broadcast Network presents Variety Unlimited Television. Watch shows like Meet the Author Podcast, The Bipolar DM, Just Cindy, Card Pulls and Coffee, Unfiltered Talk with Bryce, and more. That's right, our shows are your shows on WLFE Digital Broadcast Network. And now, back to the show.
Hi there. We're back. Hi, you got a new puppy.
Do you have a puppy?
This is Daisy.
This is Daisy.
She's new to the family, and she is a handful.
Oh, how old is she?
She's 6 months.
6 months.
And what is she? Do you know?
Well, they said that she has Chihuahua in there, but I don't know. I see more Terrier than I do Chihuahua.
Well, she looks sweet.
Main thing she is a dog, and we love dogs.
Yeah, we do too. I've had dogs since I was born. My grandfather gave me one for a baptism present when I was a little baby. We've always had dogs. Dogs are great.
I can't imagine a house without a dog. It's not a home, it's just a house.
There we go. Before we chat anymore, we're going to go ahead and do the book giveaway to give people time to enter it.
For Jack.
This is for Jack. Jack KREGAS, and we've already looked at seen all his covers and stuff. He's talked about the books, and so all you have to do is be one of the first 3 people to email jkregas@gmail.com. will win an ebook of choice. Okay, we'll keep that running there. Okay, so you're gonna start filming in January, did you say?
Yeah, we would not start now, and the reason is because you would not believe how much money that the insurance company wants during hurricane season.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And I don't like insurance companies to begin with, so I'm not going to pay them $75,000, which is what they want. And you got to have insurance before you can get a completion bond.
Then you have the holidays.
Completion bond before you get investors.
Right. Then you have the holidays right after December 1st, as you know, starting into holiday season. So
Right.
You might as well wait, right?
Might as well wait. They're already putting up Christmas decorations around here.
There you go.
People are in their homes. I mean, they're in the. You mean in the
stores.
store? Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're always. Yeah. Christmas always comes before Halloween. Now it's crazy.
You're right next to the Christmas tree. You know?
And Thanksgiving gets lost. You know, there's Halloween decorations, there's Christmas decorations, but if you're looking for Thanksgiving decorations, they're hard to find. They really are.
I know.
So when will we see the book Siren Song 2 come out? Did you say maybe July?
Yeah, Nancy said she's going to fast track it and have it out in June or July. So I'm saying July. And we're having a big photo shoot here in 2 weeks because, as you know, we use a live model for the cover of Siren Song.
Yep.
And we're going to use her again. Her name is Jenny Mater. And but we're also going to mix her with another woman who is Maris in disguise. And we're having to decide how to do that. It's going to be tricky.
That's interesting.
It'll also be fun. You know?
There you go.
We have her picture on a T-shirt.
Yes.
Because we have the Siren Song T-shirts. I would have worn it tonight if you were going to be on. If I knew you were going to be on.
You should have told us you were going to be on.
Well, I'm wearing my Two Faces of the Jaguar T-shirt tonight.
There you go.
Awesome.
So I didn't plan on being on, but yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we also think, I hate to talk about money, but we think it's going to be very profitable.
That's good.
Almost all movies that have to do with water.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just pick one, name one. And they're calling Siren Song the next Jaws, the people who are supposed to know what they're talking about.
Well, good. That's exciting. Well, it takes place in a really exciting place, a real place that's really exciting in real life. So, you know, and you wrote a very awesome story about what's going on, you know, in the Blue Hole.
Yeah, the Blue Hole is the siren's lair. And I've been diving on the Blue Hole. And whenever you pass through that thermocline, there's a thermocline that's down about 120 feet. And when you pass through the thermocline and get on the bottom side of it, it will just scare the pee-waddling hell out of you. Because those grottos are there with those big mineral formations that look like giant teeth. And you're already in what they call Three Martini country. If you're a scuba diver, for every 50 feet that you go down, nitrogen necrosis gets a hold of you. It's called Martini's Law. It's one martini for every 50 feet of depth. So when you get down to 150 feet, you're 3 martinis on an empty stomach. The great part is whenever you come back up, you're sober again and you don't have any hangovers, you know.
There you go.
There's a picture of it.
Part. Yep. That's Jenny Mater. She's a very sweet lady and a good friend and has a good heart. She'll do anything for you, but in the story, she's a murdering bitch.
Yeah, and that's the Blue Hole right there. Oh, yes. I think we might have Jack back.
Oh, looks like he's back.
Good. Well, then
He's trying to get. That's right. You stay right where you're at. He's busy.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Here, let's take him down. We'll take you.
Put your headphones on. Yeah, we were getting a lot of feedback. We have some comments here too, George.
Okay.
Let me see. Trish says, I love the Blue Hole, such a crazy place. And Trish says there must be a giant octopus down there in the Blue Hole.
I bet.
Well, I know for a fact that there's a bunch of hammerhead sharks down there. Because I've seen them. I thought you'd think they had wanted to make me into a taco, so I got out of there.
I haven't been diving in a long time, but I used to dive. But the deepest I've ever gone is 140 feet. That was enough for me.
Deep enough.
Yeah, it was deep enough. It was deep enough for me. I was like, okay.
We lost him again.
We lost Jack again.
I went to 150 feet in the Blue Hole, and then also in Belize, I went down to 120 feet on the outside of the Barrier Reef. And I encountered one of the biggest stingrays you ever saw in your life, and he wanted to be friends. So I wound up scratching him under the chin and then ran out of bottom time and had to come back up.
I also, when I made that deep dive, was in Mexico, and I also came across a huge stingray, and when he swam over me, which I didn't see him, he was way above me, all of a sudden there was no sun because he was so big. He blocked out all the sun, and when I looked up at him, I almost passed out. He was huge. I think he was like, I don't know, 15 feet or.
Was that a stingray or a manta ray?
A manta ray.
Yeah.
A manta ray.
Impressive.
Yeah, he was really big. He might have been bigger than that. He might have been like, he might have been bigger than 15 feet. He was pretty big though. He was
20 feeters are not uncommon.
Yeah, he probably was more like 20 feet because he looked like the size of a boat, a pretty good sized boat. But he was actually a manta ray. Yeah, not a stingray.
So anyway, we've already, in anticipation of making some money off of Siren Song, we've already done quite a bit of the casting for Siren Song 2. And of course, Angie is going to be played by a woman named Jamie Wilson, and she'll be coming back. She's a real good actress. So she's going to do a fine job.
Good. And do you still have Barry Corbin, right? Isn't he?
Barry Corbin is going to be, he's going to be Captain Al Horman in Siren Song 1. He will not be back in Siren Song 2.
Oh, okay.
So
now you were saying you were trying to get an A-lister too, right?
Yeah, I want an A-lister. We have a guy that's going to play a Greek named Dimitri in Siren Song 2, and the truth is that he winds up being an ancient character himself from mythology.
Oh, cool.
But I would love, and don't get me wrong, I do not have any reason to believe we can get him. But if dreams come true, I would love to see Keanu Reeves play that role.
So we can tell everybody that he's signed up, right?
If Keanu
Yeah,
Reeves,
right.
if Keanu Reeves is in it, we're going to come and visit you.
We'll come down to the grand opening. Yeah.
I love Keanu Reeves.
I want to tell you something. I would give my left ear to work with Keanu Reeves.
And he seems like a really nice guy too. You know what I mean? As a person, besides being a good actor, he seems like a really, really good person.
I've never seen him in a bad role. Everything he plays, he brings everything he's got to it.
Jack, if you can hear me,
Jack is still trying to get on.
turn your camera around
so we can see you.
All we're seeing is your desk. There you are. Okay, there you are. Okay.
Hey, let's try.
I thought you were working on it. Let's bring you in. There you are.
Hi, Jack.
What I've had to do is I have no internet, so I'm on the phone now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my God. Is
The
that
internet quit.
Expensive call?
It happens sometimes. It just quit on the computer, so I went to the phone.
Well, good thinking. Boy, that's top notch there. Very good. Do we need to?
Jack, we'd like to introduce you to George. You see him up there above.
George.
I can't see him because I got the phone turned the other way, but I saw him before. Hello.
Okay. George is our stunt man, and he stands in for other. He's your body double. And
I'm going to step aside. Jack, go for it.
So, Jack, where were we when we got rudely interrupted there?
Thank you so much, George. Oh, no. He disappeared again.
We just got rudely interrupted again. We'll have to have him back on again sometime. We'll
Yeah,
maybe pre-record him.
That's what we should do. We should
pre-record him
pre-record a
next time.
show with him
Yeah.
so that then if this happens, we can edit all of this stuff out.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about bad luck, huh?
No kidding. Well, George, we're really happy that you are willing to jump in.
Very good.
Glad to do it. Glad to. Would you like to talk about Two Faces of the Jaguar?
Well, Jack is back.
Jack
We don't
is
know how
back.
for long.
All right.
It's a gamble, right, Jack?
Stay right where you are, George. Okay. What would you like to talk about, Jack? Go ahead and let's.
Well, where are we now?
Well, we
We
already
haven't
told
talked about
people
Vegas
the,
yet.
if you can
We haven't
see,
talked about what?
Vegas transactions,
but we did
Okay.
tell everyone about the book giveaway.
right?
That it's the
Yep.
first 3 people to email Jack KREGAS
Jay
at
Kregas.
jKregas at
Mhm.
gmail.com will win an ebook of choice. Just go to his website. And okay, we should talk about this.
I don't think
you can see, but we have up your book cover. We have up
Yeah.
Jack KREGAS, the Vegas transactions.
And very interesting
Okay.
cover and
So-
story.
Yeah, you should maybe tell people about the cover.
Okay, the cover just won an international prize as the best cover.
Mhm.
And I'm very happy with that and very proud of that because that cover I did 100% myself. And I try to do my covers which they represent what's in the book. Some people don't, but I do. But this cover, I designed it completely, every part of it, and I'm very pleased with it. An interesting fact: that Vegas sign is the actual Vegas sign that a woman designed back in the 30s. And normally a Vegas sign is red, white, and blue with the lights around it. But when she designed that sign, she never wrote the sign, and she left it for anybody to use at any time without fees or any copyright problems. So there was no problem in using that sign on the cover. I thought that was an interesting fact that she allowed everybody to use this forever.
It's a really nice cover. I like it a lot.
And it's got to do with crime in Las Vegas, I'm assuming, right?
Well, I wrote a book. The book before that was Club Cargo, which was a book about the Italian and the Irish gangs in Boston during the late 60s and the 70s.
Mhm.
And someone wanted to start a disco and the problems they had with the gangs. And the Vegas Transactions is sort of it's a standalone book, but it sort of continues on. And it's about the story of when the mob controlled Las Vegas for many years from the beginning. But in the early 70s, they were being moved out because Howard Hughes had sold his casinos. Businesses went in and was slowly moving the mob out. And this takes place at that time. And the hero of this book is a man called Jack Ross, which is on the cover. I like this book a lot. There's a lot in it about Vietnam because the Vietnam War was going on at this time. So I try to put them all together. And I think the book is real good. I don't think it's sold as much as I thought it would, but who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you liked it.
I like the book. Yeah, I like the heroes. If I write a book and I like the hero, then I like the book. I've written books where I don't like the hero, so I don't like what they do, and I don't like the person. Sometimes they still get on pages, but I don't know how they do that. But I like this book. I like the hero. I like the idea of him. I like his mentality.
Yeah.
Don't you think in all the books there's some part of the author in the book?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Our characters are.
Yeah, I mean it happens like that. Some part of you or some part of someone is part of that character.
Oh, for sure.
So that's how this character came about, really.
Yep. We use people that we know and care about. We use their names in our books. So
For sure.
they end up in our books.
So Club Cargo, that one, can you tell us a little more about that story?
Story of
Well,
ambition.
Club Club Cargo was I had an idea that this boy who grew up in the streets of Boston during this time, he worked from his father was died of an accident, and he worked running numbers, and he worked dealing cards and different things, and he worked for a mob boss, and then he had the idea he wanted to open a nightclub, which in order to do that he had to have the okay of whoever controlled that area, which he made a deal with the mob and opened his nightclub. Then there was a drive-by shooting and everything went bad. I like the story. It was a good story, good characters. The main gangster went to jail. The nightclub closed. People died, and there was some revenge at the end of who actually caused this drive-by shooting. So I left a book like that, and the hero from that book, one of the mobsters in that book who went to jail, happens to be the man who got out of jail and was exiled to Las Vegas during the 60s. Because if you were a gangster and you went to Las Vegas during this time, it was an open city. They usually didn't kill you when you were in Las Vegas. It was an unwritten rule that you could go there, you could party, and you wouldn't meet, unless you were skimming the casinos, then you disappeared. But other gangsters from around the country could go to Las Vegas relatively safely. So they exiled the mob in Boston, exiled this man when he got out of jail to Las Vegas, and he had to stay there. And this is what happened then. Okay. So the two books tied together.
Yeah, that's what happened in the Vegas transactions.
Very
Yes,
cool.
exactly.
Gotcha.
Very
that
cool.
makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I have no idea who I write about gangsters.
Well, I assume you never were one, because that's
I
not
never was one.
biography.
But the closest to gangsters was my father ran poker games upstairs in his hotel. That's all. But everybody knew it, and everybody played.
There you go.
I don't know why. I don't know why I've done that. And the other book, the mystical glasses and all this, these were kind of gangster oriented books, revenge type vigilante people. So except for Cruise Lines, which is completely nothing to do with gangsters, and the short stories, all the other books seem to be a little bit about gangsters.
So you do a lot of book signings and events.
Yeah, I do, and I was speaking last year at the Dublin Writers Conference, which was now no more because you can't travel.
Right.
All the books I've written, I've been there. Like Slick Justice takes place in Russia, so we went to Russia. A couple of books, Contested Ransom took place in Mexico, so I traveled around Mexico. So all the books, all my books, wherever I've been, wherever they're located or wherever the scene takes place, I have been in all those places. So everything is real. And as far as book signings and things, it's very hard to advertise books on social media because it's a shotgun approach, and you're reaching people. You're reaching people who are not authors. So in order to sell books, you have to speak to people who read. You have to speak to readers.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing I've found, and people haven't realized this, and this is a very successful thing: retirement villages. Retirement villages. There's always people have time. You go into a retirement village, you give them a couple glasses of champagne, you tell them about your books, maybe you get 35 people listening to you, you sell 25 books and you get 25 reviews.
And they like to read.
Retirement villages are fantastic places to sell books.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
We have none in Florida. Just kidding. It's all retirement. We live in one. Listen, Robert White is saying maybe Jack was a gangster in a previous life.
That's highly possible.
Robert lives in Queensland. Robert?
Maybe I was.
Did you hear me? Robert is in Queensland. He lives
whereabouts?
I don't know.
I don't
You
know,
can tell us.
Robert.
Robert, where do you live in Queensland?
But Robert, I don't know if you
Not
were
your
on at the
address.
beginning of the show but Jack lives in Brisbane. And that's where he's talking to us from.
There's a time delay, you know.
Yeah.
He's all the way around the other side of the world.
So, but that's the fellow that we were talking to you about that.
Rockhampton.
Oh, he lives in Rockhampton.
But you probably say it
Rockhampton.
differently.
How do you say it?
Rockhampton.
Oh,
It's a
Rockhampton.
bit, yeah, it's a bit 600 miles north of us.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
well, Queensland, you said, was big.
Pretty good size
Huge.
place.
I looked at a map, but they had it in Planet on it. Florida fits into Queensland like 20 times.
Oh my gosh.
I believe it.
Takes you a long time to get out of there. Oh my
But
goodness.
Well-
we've got a lot of people packed in here in a lot of retirement villages. Actually,
So
sometimes people think it's only retirement villages. Yep, people.
I think that's a thing that authors don't do. If instead of doing book signings in a bookstore or something like that, you know, arrange to do book signings in retirement villages. They're a captive audience. They like to read. They're the right age group. They enjoy you coming. They want the amusement. It's a terrific place to sell books.
They can't run away either.
And they can't run away.
Robert says he hopes the storms didn't hit you too hard yesterday.
We had about a 5-minute storm with 6 pieces of hail, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
Not too bad.
Not bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
So, Jack, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about as far as
Your
during the
books
session?
or
We are kind of
what you're
running
doing.
toward the end of the show now.
Well, I hope to get back on. I hope after the first of the year, I'm hoping when things lighten up, maybe to be able to get to the U.S. I'm thinking about getting a van, traveling around the U.S., doing some book signings, talking to people I've met on the internet, dropping by your place and saying hello. I think it would be a nice. I think it'd be a nice adventure. That's what my plan is for after the first of the year.
There you go. And you can swing down by George's house.
By George in Texas.
Down
I
there.
don't know if you heard George, but he has a movie coming out in January, and a book
Starting to film in January.
Starting to film in January. I'm sorry, it doesn't come out in January. I'm always pushing you ahead of schedule, George.
And Keanu Reeves
Is maybe going to be in the sequel.
I was going to say, he's
That's
going to be the
fantastic.
sequel, but you know,
We're voting for him.
we're voting for him, but
he hasn't said yes.
he has
yet.
no idea that he's going to do that.
He's going to be asked, but you know. Anyway, but
Look, I'm very sorry that this internet thing quit, and it's still. I'm looking at it now. It just clicked here on my computer for some reason or other. I think it just came back on. I think.
Okay. Well, we're just about done here, so.
I know. That's right. I'm sorry about that. You never.
Okay.
well, we're sorry that happened.
You never know in this place. You know.
No.
That's for sure.
But
That's for sure.
if you do come here to the States, besides retirement villages,
Whoop, there he is.
oh, you're here in,
Am I there?
yes,
Okay.
we removed the other one. We're going to take your phone off.
Yeah.
Okay,
There
there
you
you go. That's better.
Besides retirement villages, you can do bars. That's, restaurants with bars. That's a good place to do book signings. Right, George?
Yep, bars and restaurants.
Yeah, because people are eating and drinking and they're happy and,
A little bit of alcohol loosens up the wallet.
there you go.
certainly does.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
And that's why Jack said, bring a couple of bottles of champagne, feed the people in the retirement village, and sell your books.
George, you want to take a couple of minutes and talk about the Jaguars?
Well, I have a trilogy called Two Faces of the Jaguar. That's book number 1. Book number 2 is called The Lost City. And book number 3 is called The Jaguar's Quest. And all 3 of them are on the market. They're available on Amazon and several other booksellers. And they're enjoying pretty good success. They were a lot of fun to write. I used to live in Honduras where the action takes place. And I wrote about where I used to live, except I took writer's privilege and I embellished. Like, for instance, my outside deck in the real house was about 6 feet wide. And in the story, it's about 20 feet wide.
There you go.
So I wanted to say both Jack and George, their books are available on, you can find them both on indiebooksource.com. Just find books-by-Jack KREGAS, or the same thing, books-by-George-Dismukes, or just go to on the main page tab, just search, there's a search button there, and just type in the author's name, either Jack KREGAS or George Dismukes. Very easy to find them. All their books are listed there, and all their contact information's there, and very easy to find. So.
And we'll have to have you on again, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like that. Thank you for having me. I very much appreciate it. And please, anybody who sends me an email, take a choice, and I'll make it 5 people. We'll send out 5 books.
All right, that sounds great.
We'll increase that to 5. And if you're just listening to this, go ahead and give it a try too, because you never know, they may not be all given away.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, it was such a difficult night for you, Jack.
Oh, it's just, it's the electronics. You never know what's going on. I'm sorry about that, and I really do appreciate you having me. Then another time in the future, I'm happy to come on again.
Yeah, it was great for you to jump in, George. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for hopping on board, and you were bailing as fast as you could there, and worked out pretty good, right? Okay, all right.
Yeah, I did want to say that your 3 books about the Jaguars are a big hit. They really are. People love them.
They're really good adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Good character development.
Well, there's a good ancient Maya legend involved in it too, and the Black Jaguar.
There you go. Oh, do you guys have any questions for each other or comments?
No.
Whereabouts are you in Texas?
I'm just south of Houston on the coast in a little village called San Leon. Population about 5,000 if you count a few dogs.
Nice place for sure.
Yeah. A lot of fishing.
I was in the Army in El Paso for about a year at one point.
The local newspaper here says a small drinking community with a big fishing problem.
I think that's funny. That's great.
Paul Hollis said, another interesting and excellent show. Interruptions handled very well. Thanks. Thanks.
Well, sometimes we plan them so we can.
Oh my gosh.
We can sell our own books.
Yeah. And Trish says, thank you, George, and great to learn about you, Jack. And Joe says, I know it's not what you guys expected, but I still enjoyed the show. Yeah,
no, we did expect you to enjoy the show, Joe.
A lot of fun.
I had to read from one of our books, Jack. That's how bad it got.
But you did a good job. Excellent. I was captivated.
Yeah, another guy jumped in.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with you?
All right. So we're going to, I guess, say goodnight to you guys. We're going to move you over.
Nice meeting you, Jack.
Like this.
Hey, thanks, George. Same.
Both of you guys sit tight, and Jack will understand if you disappear.
But otherwise, just hold on. We'll
hang
talk
in there
to you after the show.
By your fingernails or something. And we're going to bid everyone good night. Next week, we have Paul Hollis, so make sure you join us. We're going to talk about his spy adventure some more. And until next time.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, too. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, until next time.
Until next time.
That's all, folks.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.